Welcome back, folks. It is time to finish our deer hunting load in 6.5 Grendel. I'm out of time. Season opens next weekend, so this is our last chance. Now, just to recap from the first video, we are using the 120gr Speer Gold Dot. We are shooting Lapua brass. In the last video, it was new, so now it's once fired. I've already got it cleaned up, I've got it sized, I've got it primed, I've got it completely ready to rock. It did not need trimmed, but I checked it. So we're gonna be moving quick here today. We're ready for powder and bullets. Now, speaking of powder, in the last video, our best accuracy was with AR comp, but our velocities were pretty low. We shot up to 26.2 grains. But several of you reminded me that with AR comp, in previous videos, I've been all the way to 27.1 grains with the 129 grain AccuBond long range. So higher charge with a heavier bullet, I should still have a fair amount of room to move up here with our 120 grain Gold Dot. Outdoor Generalist left a comment. He's got some videos on this exact same combination, and he was over a grain higher than I was. Had a guy named DeHut run some quick load numbers and said it looked like to him we could go up to about 27.7. So lots of evidence pointing to the fact where we've still got room to move up with AR comp, which is great news because it's shooting really great groups and I've got plenty of it on hand. Several other powders were brought up. First of all is CFE 223 and its very close cousin, Lever Evolution. So these would definitely get our velocities up there, along with Shooter's World Match Rifle and its close cousin, Accurate 2520. So these would all be excellent choices, would probably be a pretty easy route to higher velocities. But I can't remember if I explained it in the last video. I was kind of hoping to stick with an extruded powder just for, more consistent velocity across temperatures. Extruded powders in general are just less sensitive, although it really doesn't matter. It's a very dumb thing for me to be obsessing about whenever this is a short range hunt and load. 150, 200 yards is about the longest shots I'm going to take, and minor velocity differences just don't matter at that range. But sometimes I like to be unreasonable, and I guess this is just one of those times. So on top of pushing AR comp today, I thought I'd also give VihtaVuori N540 a try. Yeah, this is VihtaVuori N540. It's part of their high energy line of powders. So I think we'll give this a quick try, and here's the plan I've got. It's a little bit crazy. So as I mentioned, we've already got our brass fully prepped. I'm ready for powder and bullets. I think what I want to do is load up just a few rounds with some different different charge weights and just shoot them out the window here of my reloading room. Like I've got a nice big hillside right outside the window. So I'm thinking we just shoot them, have a look at pressure signs, have a look at the velocities, and then decide what we actually want to load up and go out and shoot for groups. That way, if VihtaVuori N540 is going to be a waste of time, we can just, dump it after maybe 5 shots. Let's do that. Let's load up 5 shots with each of the powders and just kind of see what happens here for velocity. So with AR comp, I want to just kind of move up from where we were in the last video. So let's shoot 26.5, 26.8, 27.1, 27.4, and 27.7. I think by the time we're at 27.7, we'll probably be tearing up some brass. I'm not sure. Now with VihtaVuori N540, VihtaVuori actually has load data for the 120 grain Barnes TSX. Now you have to be careful. The Barnes TSX is a solid copper bullet, so it's much larger than our lead core Gold Dots, right? Which should be to our advantage. Like I would expect to be able to shoot a little bit higher charges with this short bullet than with the long Barnes TSX. At least I think. So they show a max charge of 29.0 grains. I want to start right about there. Let's start at 28.8 and we'll also do 0.3 of a grain increments up to 30. We should probably do 0.2 increments, but whatever. I want to cover a lot of ground. So let's just stick with 0.3 increments. We might tear up some brass, but I don't know. I did look in my notes. I've shot this powder with 140 grain bullets in Grendel, and we went up to 27.5 grains. So 20 grain lighter bullet. I think we're going to be in the ballpark here with these charge weights. Does that about cover it? What else do we need to talk about on load data? We're going to shoot the same overall length. It's right at 2.280, which I had written down 1.731 cartridge based ogive with my bullet comparator. We're shooting the CCI 450 primers. Somebody was asking why I'm using Magnum primers in the Grendel. I don't even really have a good answer for you. It goes back to somewhere in the past. They shot well and I just kind of stuck with them. And lately, our Grendel shooting, we've been shooting pretty decent groups. We've been getting pretty good standard deviations. So I don't know. Somewhere in the past, I kind of just went with that as a standard, but you certainly don't necessarily need a Magnum rifle primer. So that's it. Let me grab my gun. I'll get it set up with the Magneto Speed chronograph. We'll load up these first 10 shots and then we'll go from there. All right, let's get these bullets seated. I want to get this die set up kind of, permanently so I can switch back and forth with some other stuff. So I'm going to use one of these Lee lock and load bushings with the integrated ring and stuff. So that way we can lock it down and keep our settings. Let's back out our adjustment a bit. Got my bullet comparator ready to go. What's our target? Our target is 1.731 cartridge-based ogive, or about 2.280 total overall length. That should be easy enough. I'm not even touching the bullet yet, so there we go. Now, neither of these powders, even the highest charge, is going to be a compressed load. Both AR Comp and VihtaVuori N540 are very small granules. You can pack a lot of powder for a given case capacity. So let's see, yep, 1.905, I'm about 170-ish too long. Okay, there's 165. Okay, so according to cartridge-based ogive, I'm right at 10 thousandths too long. Let's take a total overall length, and that shows that I'm 11 thousandths too long. Good. Bring it down 10. Seat the next one here. Check the number with this guy. Cartridge-based ogive is right on the money, and so is our total overall length number there. Good. Go back to that first one. Seat it the rest of the way. And just to be sure I wasn't lying, this is the highest charge of AR Comp. Let's, yeah, it's still moving. It's not moving a lot. It's pretty close to a full case. Tell you what, let me seat the max charge of N540 now. I didn't hear any crunching. Yep, got powder moving in that guy as well. I'm going to throw a brass catcher on my gun just to make sure I'm not chasing brass all around the room, but I do need to grab a Sharpie and write the charge weights on the side of these cases just to be sure I don't get confused. I'm easily confused. Okay, 10 rounds ready to go. Let me get set up with the chronograph. We'll see what happens. All right, I think I'm ready to go. The problem is I don't have any sighters. I wanted to shoot one or two just to make sure that my chronograph was connected and it's going to read okay and all that, but I don't have any stupid other ammo loaded up. So we're just going to go for it. Hopefully I don't shoot my power lines. Okay, first up, 26.5 of AR Comp. Good, we got a reading, and I forgot to put my stupid brass catcher on because I'm an idiot. Okay, 2389. That piece of brass looks good. Nothing to freak out about there. And that definitely is a little increase. So the last video we got 2339 from 26.2 grains. Good, that's a good start. Okay, brass catcher's installed this time. Hopefully that'll be a little easier. All right, 2408, and this time right at the P in Lapua, we do have a bit of an ejector mark. All right, let's go ahead to 27.1. 2438, and another ejector smear. Yep, getting a little bit more pronounced. No, it's not raising up any burrs or anything like that yet. So let's go ahead and shoot the next one. 27.4. So that brass looks pretty much the same. Let's go ahead and finish it off. Okay, 2460, and nothing too bad. Yeah, that's not too bad. Okay. So let's move on to N540 and see where this 28.8 puts us. Okay, 2357. And let's see, right there on the top. Yep, little bit of an ejector mark. But let's move on. Yeah, that's about the same. Maybe getting a little bit worse. Hasn't quite raised up any burrs or anything. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, strangely enough, that's actually the best looking piece we've seen in a while. Not much markings to be found. Good. All right, one last charge, 30.0. Okay, kind of back to where we were. Bit of an ejector mark, nothing that I'm too freaked out. Like, I wouldn't want to shoot these as my normal load, but for a low volume hunting load, it might be fine. Okay, so I did chart out the velocities, but I'm not sure how much I care, to be honest, about what the chart looks like. It's only 5 shots, and especially with N540, I have no idea what sort of standard deviations or what sort of velocity consistency we should be able to expect out of this combination. So that chart in particular, I don't really care about. The one for AR comp, I mean, it does kind of seem like those top 3 charges were reasonably consistent velocities, what, 2438 up to 2460. So only 22 feet per second difference between 0.6 of a grain of powder. So that could be telling us something. Plus, you know, that's right around 2,450 feet per second, which is not too bad. Like if we end up at 2,400 feet per second, I'd be pretty happy with that. So these are the loads I want to shoot. Let's just do 0.2 of a grain increments. AR comp, let's explore that 27 up to 27.6 range. See what things look like there. And then with N540, let's shoot some groups at that top end at 29.6, 29.8, and 30.0. So hopefully somewhere in there is a halfway decent load that'll kill a deer. So I just need to weigh a few charges and seed a couple bullets. So unless something interesting comes up, I'll just see you guys out on the range. Okay, so it's time to get started. We're shooting at 100 yards. I need to clear my shot marker target here. And by the way, we are using the shot marker electronic target system. The dots you see there represent 1 inch. My gun has an 18-inch Faxon heavy barrel with a 1 in 8 twist. I'm using my Silencer Co. Omega suppressor. This is a Vortex Diamondback tactical scope, but this is not the scope we're going to be hunting with. Just going to leave it on here for the end of the load development here. And then I've got a new 2.5 to 10 that I'm going to put on to actually hunt with this year. Let's see, this gun has a Gibbs side charging upper, and yeah, I think that's the important stuff. Getting velocity with the lab radar chronograph, and I think that covers it. I did shoot a couple shots to get the gun warmed up, so we should be good to go here right from the beginning. You know, I had that happen to me earlier where I inserted the magazine and the bolt dropped. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out, maybe try and figure out what's going on there, because that's not a good thing. We are starting out with our AR comp loads. This first one's 27.0 grains. Let's see if we can shoot a group. Might as well zoom in. Got a failure to feed there. Yep, sure did. Yeah, that one jammed really hard into the barrel extension. 2 big, huge dents in the side of the shoulder. We'll go ahead and shoot it here in a minute. And that didn't lock the bolt back. What the heck is going on with my gun? Yeah, let's go ahead and shoot this one that got dinged really bad. It's in bad shape, man. It's in really bad shape. I can visually see that the bullet is freaking jacked. Like the whole neck and bullet are crooked. You know what? I probably shouldn't shoot it. Yeah, we won't shoot that. Let's see what our velocity looked like. All right, we're looking good. 2404 is our average. Standard deviation of 4.0, an extreme spread of 8. And the group size was 0.57 inches. So looking really good. Except for our function issues. I'm wondering, I just looked, I did grab the wrong magazine. This is a 6.8 magazine that I used for 224 Valkyrie. It's not one of my Grendel mags. So that might be what's going on. Might have to run in and grab a proper magazine perhaps. Okay, moving right along. Next up is 27.2 grains. Wondering maybe I should just single feed these. I'm afraid I've got a gas block issue or something right now. I don't really have enough daylight to worry about it right now. I can do that, you know, during the week. And if we get another feeding problem that jacks up another round, we'll just go to single feeding. That'll get the job done. Yep, didn't lock it back again, which it won't even lock back on that empty mag. Anyway. Yep, I think that magazine's jacked. Yep, we're up to 24-26. Standard deviation 8.7, extreme spread 21. Group size 0.43 inches. This gun just loves this combination of bullet and powder. Really shoots well. So I ran inside and found a different magazine, and we'll see if this one does any better. I did put it in empty and it was locking the bolt fine, which this one was not doing a minute ago. So, yep, I think we just got a bad magazine. Hopefully that's the extent of the problems. Let's see, we are up to 27.4 grains of AR comp. We'll see if these groups hold together. Well, our group opened up a little bit to 0.90 inches. Velocity's up to 24.49. Standard deviation 8.0, extreme spread 19. Yeah, still not too bad. I wish that group was a bit tighter, but that's okay. One good thing is that magazine seems to have fixed our problems. We ran clean and we locked the bolt back. So that's a weight off my shoulders. I was afraid that something was going on with my gas block or something was going on. So that makes me feel a whole lot better. So our brass is looking like what we saw earlier on the bench. I mean, it's in bad shape. This is not stuff I would want to shoot much of. But I mean, I guess, you know, that's the sacrifice we're making for a bit of velocity. But it's definitely getting hammered. Okay, so we've got one more group with AR comp, 27.6 grains. Now, hopefully the accuracy going to crap in the last group isn't a trend. And these will tighten back up. I don't know. Let's find out. All right, nice. Yep, velocity 24.58, standard deviation 5.5, extreme spread 14, and a 0.32 inch group. Holy crap. Love that one. Man, I wish Speer would start getting these frickin' bullets back in stock so people can actually get them, because they're just amazing. All right, time to switch over to VihtaVuori N540. No clue what to expect here, because in the last video, Power Pro Varmint at H4895 didn't really shoot very well with these bullets, but AR Comp did. And we've already seen AR Comp has continued to shoot really well. So it'll be interesting to see what N540 does. So let's get to it. Oh man, once again, I cannot get settled. Holy crap, where did that shot go? Wow, that went way up there. I'm just kind of having trouble getting comfortable here. Okay, that's weird, man. That is really weird. I mean, even if, like, you know, I wasn't comfortable or I pulled it or I wasn't holding this tight, I wasn't that far out, man. That's crazy. Very crazy. Let's hide that one and see what the other four. Yeah, the other 4 went into 0.49 inches. And then that guy makes it a 1.47. Velocity 2434. Standard deviation 2.4. Extreme spread of 6. Nice. If it wasn't for that one shot, that would have been really good. Let's see, what were those best 4? Yeah, the best 4 were 0.49 inches. I think we'll just ignore that guy. Hopefully this next group will clean that up. Okay, moving on with VihtaVuori N540. Next up is 29.8 grains. All right, that was a little bit better. Let's zoom in a touch. 0.56 inches, that's good. Velocity 2457. Standard deviation 16.4, that's by far the worst we've seen today. Extreme spread of 39. It wasn't just one shot. I went to look shot by shot to see if there was one in particular that screwed up our numbers. There was one low one at 2433, but then there were 2 of them up in the 70s. Yeah, that's weird. All right, so this is our last load, 30.0 grains of VihtaVuori N540. Now, one thing that we can safely say, I don't care if this is a 5-inch group, like today's been a successful range trip. We have shot some pretty darn good groups, and I'm feeling really good about my Grendel load for next weekend. But we're not giving up, man. This is going to be the best group of the day. Let's see what happens. All right, it all kind of fell apart there, didn't it? That kind of sucks. Velocity 2464, standard deviation 7.5, extreme spread 19. But yeah, that's just by far our crappiest looking group of the day, 1.27 inches, which, you know, still not terrible, but just nothing like some of those groups we saw earlier, or the last group with N540. I guess that makes our decision easy, right? I mean, with these velocity numbers, you know, we basically have the same velocity numbers with both powders, but the accuracy difference makes it an easy choice, right? We're going to be hunting with AR comp, and we don't have to think very hard about it. So that's a good thing. But let's get back to the bench. We'll have a little bit closer look, and we'll try and figure out which one we want to go with. But a lot of good options to choose from. So most of the time we don't have much to look at when we're inspecting brass, but here, like, I don't even know what not to look at. Pretty much every single piece has got ejector marks. There are some, let me see if I can find one. There, that one right here in particular. Seem to kind of take it on the chin a little on the extractor side as well. So smear on the ejector, and a little bit, like, there's no huge burrs or anything. Like, I mean, I think it's fine as long as our primer pockets survived, which I'm pretty sure they'll be fine. The brass is still good, but man, we have beat it up. Now the question, and I'll actually be able to see this better whenever I play this video back on a big screen, but you got to watch for the rim getting bent. Like, you know, where that extractor side was, sometimes like the edge of the rim will kind of bend up, and I can't tell for sure. I think it's okay. So that's what it looks like, kind of beat up. And here's that one that got jammed into the barrel extension with our bad magazine, and it is like comically crooked. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see that, but it extremely crooked. So that, when I saw that, like I was initially going to see if I could just go ahead and shoot it, because, you know, a lot of times that would just fire form out for the most part. But yeah, I think that's a ruined piece of brass. Might be able to resize it, get the neck straightened out, and then fire form it back out. It might survive. But then again, we might end up with, you know, like pinholes right there at the shoulder. I don't know. Probably not worth fooling with. So what I want to do is go ahead and load up our ammo. But before we do that, I want to decap these and tumble them just real quick. Maybe like a 30-minute tumble to clean them up a touch. And then after that, maybe we can have another look here and make sure there aren't any pieces that are damaged enough that we should remove them from circulation. So that's what we'll do. I'll be right back with some clean brass. Okay, so our brass is now clean, or mostly clean. And I went ahead and annealed them, so they're ready to get loaded up with the load we pick. Now, once I cleaned them, pretty much all of the cases, you can still see that clear ejector mark and some swipes on them. But it's nothing too scary, nothing too bad. Nothing I'm freaked out about, and there's none of them that have burrs raised up or anything that makes me want to, you know, go ahead and retire that piece of brass. So I think they're all loadable again, and we're in good shape. And speaking of that, we need to pick a load. So I pulled our target back up here on shop marker so we could have a closer look. This row is our AR comp groups. First, I should say, you know, they're all great. They're all fine. They're all perfectly good for our requirements. But this third group that got bigger, you know, was a 0.90 inch group, kind of baffles me a little bit. And if we were continuing forward with load development here, really trying to nail down the very best, the very most forgiving load, this is something I would definitely, first of all, I'd want to kind of verify it, and then we'd want to stay as far away from it as possible, right? I mean, whether it's staying away from that particular charge weight, or maybe we could mess with seating depth, and if that's a consistently bad node, maybe move it up or down the charge weight spectrum to kind of get away from it, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I don't know. But it doesn't really affect us that much today, so let's just move on. I think we'll just frickin' go for it, whatever. Let's load up 27.6 grains. You know, our max charge, it was our best group. Obviously, it was our best velocity. Standard deviations were great. The only downside is that, you know, it's a little bit rough on our brass, maybe a little bit rough on our gun, but we're not going to be shooting a bunch of these anyway, right? So I think that's what we'll do. Let's just reload all of our brass with that 27.6 grain charge. I've got a different scope. This little guy right here, this is my new Vortex Viper HS. It's a 2.5 to 10 by 44 scope. I want to mount this on the gun. I want to zero it, and we will shoot a couple of these into some ballistic gel and just see what happens. And then we'll be ready for the woods, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'll get these loaded up, I'll get my scope mounted, and we'll get back out on the range. Okay, so it's time to get our new scope sighted in. This is a 2.5 to 10 Vortex Viper HS. Yeah, shouldn't be too bad. We're going to go ahead and sight it in for 100 yards. So I'm just going to shoot at the middle of the target at 100 yards here, and we'll see what happens. I was looking down the bore and, you know, kind of comparing what I was seeing. It should be pretty darn close. That is, yep, straight low. I was aiming at the center of the target, so I did hang a new target. So I can actually track my bullet holes. I mean, shot marker's right on the money, but for this, I actually want to see the stupid bullet holes going exactly where I want them to. So, all right, let's go right half a minute, and let's go up about 4 minutes and see where that puts us. The other thing I should mention is I did switch stocks. So this is my Magpul UBR stock. The previous shooting we were doing was with the Magpul PRS. So this is a carbine length buffer tube and, you know, buffer and spring and all of that crap, where the PRS was rifle length. I'm hoping that doesn't cause us any problems. Did that first one seem to function okay? Did we eject properly and all that crap? I wasn't really paying that much attention. Yeah, looks like it did. And that round I just ejected still looks fine. So good. Hopefully we're close enough now I can actually start aiming at a dot. We'll shoot at the top left dot. Okay, let's zoom in a touch. That's just what I'm seeing through the scope as well. So let's go up. Let's go up a half minute and then left a half minute. See where that puts us. Okay. Let me see if I can find that brass. We'll make sure that the carbine link gas isn't causing us any issues on the brass. So all three pieces were laying in a nice little neat pile, and the case head damage actually looks better than it did on the last firing. Yeah, looks pretty good. Yeah, what I'm seeing on the target is matching what I'm seeing there. So I need to go right just 1 or 2 clicks. I need a 1.5 click, right? We'll see how that does. I'm gonna switch over to another dot so I can spot the shots down there. So let me hide a couple of these. Ooh, that did not eject. Huh. What the heck, man? All right, screw it. Yeah, that one went a touch left. That shot felt really good. Yep, and it looks like it went just about perfect. All right, let's get one more perfect shot. That one felt okay. Tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead right. Just one more click. We'll shoot one more shot and call it good enough. Where'd that go? Yep, there it is. That is our 0. Another thing I want to do is put this thing on minimum power and shoot it at shot marker. Make sure it's not, the 0 doesn't change from one power to the next. So see how close I can get with a 2.5 power scope. That's pretty close. That's the dot I was aiming at. See if I can do it again. Nice. I'll take that for 2.5 power. Okay, so we definitely captured the first one. And hopefully the second one as well. Let me dig those out and we'll have a quick look at them. Okay, here are our bullets, and they came out looking really, really good. This is definitely a bit better expansion than we saw the last time I tested this bullet in Grendel, and our velocities were lower at that time. So I think we gained a little bit more expansion with a little bit more velocity. And just look how mean those things are. They're just wicked bullets. They really are. So our gun is sighted in. I'm pretty darn happy with the load, and I think we're ready to go. So stay tuned. I'll probably do at the very least, I'll do an update video, you know, talking about how the bullets performed, but I might actually end up filming some of the hunt and, you know, cutting that into a video as well. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I feel like we're in a good spot now. So I think that's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time.